Welcome to Lecto. Today we are going to discuss the structure of the clavicle. In Greek language, clavicle means small key. But there is a thing. If someone gives you a clavicle, then how will you differentiate that it is clavicle or someone else? So there are some features of the clavicle. We first discuss its feature, then its special characters, and finally its location. Let's see. Actually, clavicle has basically 6 sides. This is basically the central of the body having sternum, and there is the lateral side. This is the medial side and this is the lateral side. Here is a clavicle. This side is the medial side, which is also called sternal side because it is towards the sternum. And here this portion is the lateral portion and also called acromial process because it is towards the acromion of the scapula. This is the medial and lateral side. And in front side there is a anterior side and back is the posterior side. Upward is the superior side and downward is the inferior side. So at the lateral end of the clavicle, the lateral end of the clavicle is basically smooth, or you can say flat. First feature, you will see that the lateral end of the clavicle is flat. Medial end is quadrilateral, having 4 sides. Medial end is quadrilateral, having 4 side structure. Quadrilateral is a structure having 4 sides. And the central portion is basically called shaft, and it actually curves. Curve. Superior portion. This is actually this view of the superior portion, and there is nothing. There is a smooth superior surface. So superior surface will be smooth. And at the inferior surface, there are some impressions or projections. We will see next what projection and what impression. So inferior side will have several projections. It means there are projections and impressions over the inferior surface. So if these features are followed, then we declare it a clavicle bone. Special features of the clavicle bone, it is a horizontal. It is present in horizontal plane. Subcutaneous, you can easily palpate the clavicle. While other bones, there is a thick layers of the muscles. Thick muscles are surrounded by the bone. But in clavicle, there is no thick muscle and it is close to the skin. So it is subcutaneous and you can easily palpate the clavicle. It is the first bone which ossified in our body. It is membranous ossification type. Actually, bones can be cartilaginous or membranous. So it is membranous type. Ossification centers. We will see it has 2 primary ossification center and 1 secondary ossification center. What's the difference between the primary and the secondary ossification center? Hey, let's see. Here you can see this is a bone. This is a bone. Primary centers are usually present at the center. Here are 2 primary centers. And They primary center result in the formation of the diaphysis. Pieces of the bone, and these centers are usually present before birth. Secondary ossification centers are usually at the periphery of the bone. It means at the corners of the bone, and they usually result in the formation of the epiphysis, and they are present after the birth. There is no medullary cavity. Actually, in bone, the outer part is compact. Outer part is called compact bone, and the inner is called spongy, and the, you can say, medulla part. And but in clavicle there is no medullary cavity present in it, and the nerve supply which is given to the clavicle is supraclavicular nerve, which is provided to the clavicle. Next, we will see the location of the clavicles and what ligaments are present in it. Before we discuss, we first of all see convex and concave lens, because several terms convex, concave are used in this portion. So we first of all see what is mean by concave and what is mean by convex. Actually, concave is a lens. Here you can see this is a lens, concave lens, and it actually the cave-like structure. So the word cave in concave, the word cave is used as suffix. So we can remember it by the curved side is the concave, and convex, the opposite will be obviously the projectioning side. Just like a convex lens will be the convex side. So inward side, it's inward side just like that, it is concave, and the projectioning side like this one, it will be convex. So next we will see, first of all we will see that there are two portions of the clavicle. Here is the lateral, or you can say acromial, because of the present of the acromion side, and medial because it is present towards the sternum. It is 1/3. It is 1/3. It means we divide clavicle into three parts. The first part will be for lateral, and it is 2/3. It means next two parts will be for the medial side. So this is the lateral and the medial. Actually, this portion is the superior view. You can see from upside, and this is the inferior view, right? And here you can see this map, you can remember. Medial towards the center, lateral away from the center, posterior behind, and anterior in front of the body. Next we will see what is the posterior and the inferior side. Actually, lateral, this is the lateral side. Later we see lateral side like this one, if the anterior and posterior view. Lateral side in anterior view, the lateral side will be concave. Here you can see this is just like a cave like, so it is the concave, and behind, which is the posterior side, will be convex. Here you can see this is just like a convex. So anterior lateral side at the anterior point will be concave, and at the posterior side will be convex. But Next we will see medial side. Convex, because it projects outward, and at the posterior side it usually in the flat state, but you can see somewhat concave, but there is a difference between that. It usually in the present in flat state. So we discussed three sides. Next we will see that inferior side, because at the superior side there is nothing, but at the posterior side there are several things. Special things are present at the inferior side. Let's see what things are present in the inferior side. Here you can see this is the trapezoid ridge, which is present in the lateral side, and there is a projection in the bones, and this is the choroid tubercle. I'll show you that what is the difference between tuberosity and tubercle. Here you can see tuberosity and tubercle. Actually, tuberosity is large projection. This is a large projection, tuberosity, and tubercle is small projection of the bones. Tuberosity, you can remember it by, tuberosity has large swelling, so you can remember it by large projection. Tubercle has small swelling, so you can remember it by small projection. It has rough surface, and it has usually smooth or rounded surface. So here there is a choroid tubercle, small projection and smooth surface. So this is the trapezoid ridge projection, and here is the choroid tubercle. These are actually present in the lateral side. In the medial side, there is an impression. At which Costoclavicular ligament attach. I'll tell you about later, but there is an impression. And at the inferior side, there is a groove-like structure. Groove, you can say depression or groove, which is called subclavius groove, at which subclavius muscle will attach. And beside there is a foramen, opening, hole, which is called nutrient foramen, because bones get nutrients from this foramen, because the blood vessels cannot enter the blood, where the blood vessels enter into the bone. So this is the way at which the blood vessels or nutrients supply to the bones, because the compact bone are present over the bone, and which is very thick, and there is no diffusion occur at the compact. So this is the pathway at which the bones get nutrients and several materials. So hope so up till now you understand what we have discussed. Next we will see there is a clavicle, and this is just sternum, central of the body. Sternum has basically three parts: manubrium, body and xyloid. These are the three parts of the sternum, and different ribs are attached to it. And keep remember, ribs are not directly attached to the sternum. Here you can see this green portion. Here are some ribs. Ribs are not directly attached to the sternum. It attached to the sternum through the costal cartilage. These are the costal cartilage. This is the one point. Next, we will see what ligaments are present in it. This is the medial side, and we have discussed in the inferior there is an impression. I have told you about this. At this depression, here you can see, this is actually the superior view. In inferior side, this ligament attached to the costal cartilage, and we call it a Costoclavicular ligament. There is another cartilage which is present between, there is a clavicle, there is another clavicle, left and right, and in between them two clavicle there is an other ligament which is called Interclavicular Ligament. Inter means between and clavicle means clavicle. It means the ligament which is present between the clavicle is called Interclavicular Ligament, and this is posterior superior side, and there is an other ligament which attached to this one and this ligament and the costal cartilage, which is called articular disc, which is called, this red portion is actually the articular disc. This is the articular disc. So we up till now we have discussed the medial side. Next we will see the lateral side. What happens to it? The lateral side, the joint form actually at the medial side, the clavicle joint to the sternum through the sternoclavicular joint, and at the lateral side the clavicle joint to the acromion process of the scapula, which is and the joint form between them will be acromioclavicular joint, between the acromion and the clavicle, right? And this is the scapula, and there is a glenoid cavity at which the humerus fuse, and there is another process which is called coracoid process of the scapula. This coracoid process has two ligaments which attach to the sternum. Actually, we see at the inferior view there is trapezoid ridge and the coracoid tubercle. The ligament which attach to the trapezoid ridge is called trapezoid ligament, and the ligament which attach to the choroid tubercle is called choroid ligament. Two ligaments. Here you can see there are two ligaments which attach to the choroid process and the clavicle. What part of the clavicle? Trapezoid and choroid. And these two ligaments are collectively called Coracoclavicular ligament. These are called Coracoclavicular ligament. These two ligaments are collectively called because it attaches the choroid and the clavicle themselves. Next, there is another ligament which is between the acromion and the clavicle, and this ligament is called acromioclavicular ligament. So these are the ligaments which are present in the lateral position. So this is all about the structure of the clavicle. If you have any question, then you may ask in the comment section, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe Lecto. Thank you.